Asteroid of fear.
Hey, this is Amber McCrae with Connection Over Perfection. Check out my podcast as well as many others at the Podcast Connection Network. We are all about mental health and holistic wellness. The link is in the episode description. Enjoy the show.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Men of the House podcast. And on today's episode, I have Audrye Arbe. And this is a very special guest because she's 82 years old. So that's a lot of life, for one. It's a lot of history and seeing things in the world. And also want to congratulate you on operating technology and logging into Zoom. It shows you're evolving. But
Thank you. Yes, you have to.
how are you today?
I am actually fine. I am really fine. I have an assistant and he helped me do something that has to be done. I am good. And I'm here with you. So this is
Awesome.
wonderful. Thank you so very much for this opportunity.
All right. Well, so we're going to get into kind of a lot today because, as we were discussing before, and a little bit of what my podcast listeners know is I do like to kind of get this historical marker. And as I said before, you've seen a lot of life. And so,
Yeah.
there's no substitute for experience and laps around the sun sometimes.
Yeah.
But I always start off, I want to get a little bit of your background, like where'd you grow up? What did you want to do as a kid? And kind of like what led you, if most people don't know, she's in Costa Rica. So how did you end up in Costa Rica and doing what you're doing? Kind of give us a little backstory. What year you were born, where you were born, what it was like going to
Oh, okay.
school and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so my name is Audrye. I spell it Audrye. Legally, it's not that, but if you see Audrey now, Audryenow, that is probably me. My website, my email, my courses, all of that. So I was born in Brooklyn. If there's anyone who doesn't know that's in New York, let me let you know, Brooklyn, New York. I was born actually, for those of you who want to do astrology, July 17th, 1942 in Brooklyn at 11:45 p.m. wartime.
Oh.
Okay, that gives you what you need if that's what you think you're going to do. Be my guest. The family moved when I was 8. There had been a family fight before that with, let's just say, members of the adult members of the family. I was not even supposed to speak with my cousins, and we were all in apartments in 2 buildings in Brooklyn. So we moved when I was 8 to me, a strange place. It was Long Island, which is very different than Brooklyn, I can assure you. And I grew up there. It was at the time, I'm pretty upfront, and there's no way not to be in this day and age. And yes, 82 years. By the way, people, just so you know, I feel excellent. I feel amazing. I'm a longtime vegetarian, mostly raw vegan. And I have recipes and all that. And I make raw, organic cacao, chocolate, truffles and things that are good for you and delicious. Oh yeah, I eat well. Anyway, so the family moved and it was an all-white neighborhood in Long Island. Brooklyn had started getting some Black folks, and that might have been part of why the family moved. I did not know that at the time. It was a whole other story because there was an issue within my own biological family, which was why I thought we moved. And so I grew up there and went to college upstate, which I really did not like.
The college or the upstate part?
Maybe both, because the college, there were people, now understand, I'm from the city.
Right.
And even though I don't go city girl or any of that, because it's just, I was from Brooklyn and very protected. And there were people, Jewish and Christian. I don't know what else. I don't know if we had Hindus or Muslims at the time, but I did know that. And in the upstate college, they'd never heard of Jewish. And although I'm not particularly Jewish, okay, I actually live my own life and I have my own belief systems and I have my own practices. And if you're going to ask, do I believe in a God? Not a male one, but I know for sure that there is a beyond the beyond energetic frequency. It's what I ask to tune in, and when I send healings and all of that, I know that exists. I've had a near-death experience. I can assure you it exists. And so I wasn't so fond of some of the people there and some of the teachers. I knew some of what they were teaching, like the math class. So I
Mhm.
ended up getting exempt from freshman math because I knew it. And a few other things, or English, one of them, and stuff like that. Then I moved
What was your major? Would you major
English.
in English? And
I did not, yeah, I was at a teacher's college. I did not want to
okay.
teach. I did not. I wanted to be a writer. That was from early on. I wanted to be a writer. I was interested in, and I did not know this word then, I was interested in metaphysics. It's the way my mind has always worked.
Mm-hmm.
From young, I've always asked, why is this? How is this? Back when I was 10, in my zeal to be helpful, I'm a born Cancerian. And one of the things, if you're a healthy Cancerian, you want to help. It's
Yes, I'm
just
a
part of how we're
Cancerian.
made. Oh, so yeah, we do.
June
Okay.
22nd.
Ah, right on the cusp. July
Mhm.
17th, 7/17, right? And so I saw, so I was 10, my brother was 5. I'm the first, then my sister, then my brother and so let's just say I saw some inconsistencies, and I'm a natural born, I call myself a natural born mystic intuitive. I am that. I didn't have to study for it, although I continually study. I am what I am.
Right.
Okay, like this curly hair. I've always had curly hair. I didn't have to make curly hair for this. The color, yes, but the curl, no. So I saw she was being inconsistent in some of her behavior, and I knew, because I'm what I am, that that was not going to be good for him. So in my zeal to be helpful, in my sweetest voice of a 10-year-old kid, I told my mom what I saw and what I felt and made a suggestion. Because I am one of those people. I will see, feel, and I will get possible solutions. I'm made like that. Maybe it's the moon in Virgo. I mean, there's, but it's my consciousness. I am made this way. So she got mad, because who was I? This little pipsqueak of a kid, did what we would now call invalidate me, told me I was wrong. In essence, didn't know what I was talking about. I was only a child. She's a grown-up. And so did she listen? No. And so although I knew, and this is an arrogance, I mean, I am what I am, okay, that what I was seeing was correct, what I did not know, and this is for everyone to understand, even when you see something and you know you might be right, if somebody, especially if you're a kid and young, invalidates you or says that, the person inadvertently takes in that energy as a vibration, and then they may not trust themselves regularly. That is something, part of what I call genetic karmic patterning, GKP. Some people can call it ancestral conditioning, call it what you want. GKP to me is not only our biological ancestry, it's everything. If we've been a something or other on another planet, if we've lived in a whole other timeline, all this stuff is possible, by the way. If we have been wherever we might have been, all of that plays a factor in who we are now. And usually not through language, because usually, most people don't have a clue. So even though this thing with my mom, I knew what she was doing was inconsistent. And a few other days I saw the results of it, which is what I had thought would happen. And it did. Did I get credit? No. Anyway, so what I want to say is be aware that one, as an adult or wherever you are in life, you could be 16, you could be 26, you could be 106. It's up to you to help clear that. We are in the age of Aquarius now. We have actually put our feet in it, no longer Pisces. In Pisces, the misuse of being in the age of Pisces was, and I'm saying misuse, people expected to be saved. That was never what it was about, ever. It was about taking in the energy and vibration of source, call it goddess, God, source, Allah, great spirit, whatever you, everyone's got their, okay? Go beyond male and female designations, because the all in all, the divine from which we come is way beyond any of that kind of classification, way beyond. And so if people took in that you need to be saved, they're going to walk around being a victim until whomever comes along and saves them. We can't do that anymore. Plus, we're in another frequency edging into the age of Aquarius, which is particularly strong now because Pluto is in Aquarius. And Pluto is the planet of change and revolution and transformation. And it's, for those who may not know, it's going to retrograde back into Capricorn in September, right around the corner, until November 19th, and then into Aquarius for 19 years.
Oh, wow.
That's going to bring a major change in how we think. Some people call it not from the top down, whether the top is looked at as the one with the most money wins, or the one with the most, but whatever that might be. In Aquarius, it's expected because Aquarius is sort of the sign of the people and the unusual, the different. So it's felt that a lot of that stuff will become somewhat more egalitarian. And Aquarius is not a boring sign. I mean, they are some seriously interesting people, beyond unique. If you have it in your chart, you have it somewhere on the wheel, but if you've got planets in it, that's where you'll find it in your own life. So I think, and then I'll go back, part of what's going to happen as we gallivant through is that, one, we are going to change some of what government, instead of it looking, or business, looking to squash people and only going money, 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 money at any cost whatsoever. And I don't need to say there are many people doing that.
Right.
Okay. And they'll justify, I'm not even going to get into it because it's not my thing. It's like, okay. And that's going to slowly stop. It doesn't mean the planet goes into Aquarius and you snap your fingers, it's different. It's not like that. It's a process. Okay, it's a process. And I think that different kinds of people and countries are going to be a power in different ways. How we even define power is going to change, which I'm going to get into, like what is success. And I think there's going to be a different part for people that are, what's the correct language, non-binary or non-traditional. There'll be other places for transgender. There'll be expanded, it's not the word I want, expanded definitions perhaps of gender and sex, race, all of this. I am one, by the way, and I'm going to say something most people are going to go, okay, but I'm the same as Edgar Casey. I do not feel that we all came from one race in one place. I do not. I feel that various different racial groups, five root races, came about in pretty much the same time. That doesn't mean 5 o'clock on Thursday. That means within like maybe hundreds or a couple thousand years in different places on the planet with like different aspects within them that they're here to bring forth on the earth. And that we are meant to cooperate, but it's also perhaps like an examination of us as a species and how much are we growing? Do we get along? Are we having a fight? Oh, you're lighter, I'm darker, I'm better, you're not. I'm taller, you're shorter, you don't care. You know, whatever. I was going to say DS thing here. I don't want to say. I have certain initials I use rather than say certain thing. So I'll say DS is dumb, take off the S from the next word and add, okay, that. So that kind of thinking, that has to go. So back to my trajectory. So I went to college in that place and grew and learned and was asked questions that I never even knew existed, and had to explain that I was as human as anyone else to certain people who didn't know that. When I graduated, I zipped the heck out of my parents' house and whipped to New York.
City?
I had been living in Long Island and moved right into Manhattan. Yes, indeed. And that is when my personal, on a different level, journey was able to begin. Because, and did I make mistakes? Yes. Yes, everyone's going to make mistakes, because if it's something new, you don't know what the next thing is. So part of life, ta-da, listen, folks, part of life is an exploration of who you are and what is life. And to people who have been here longer, like I'm now here 82 years and counting, does that mean I automatically know better? No. Someone could have been here a long time and know nothing on certain areas because they're okay. But most people do know something. It's part of what's kept them alive.
Right.
So I met people of different colorations. I met New York. I met people of different backgrounds. I met people of different sexual orientations. And back then, I moved to New York. Okay, I graduated from college in 1964. So I moved around 1965,
Oh, wow.
something like that. Well, I've been here a minute. Okay, and did I get involved in stuff? Yes, I was in this march and that march, not all the marches. I marched down Fifth Avenue for the Women's March somewhere in the 60s. I don't recall. I went arm in arm with my friend, I'll just say her name because with my friend Dolores, and we were in our 20s. So she's a little older than me, so maybe near 30, but I was in my 20s. And people harassed us. And the words they used is insults. Now, listen, folks, and don't get insulted. This was back then. This is not now. This will give you a perspective on what some of us did to create on a positive level who we are now. So there were people there looking to insult us by calling us lesbians, which would have been for most people at the time.
Right.
And just so you know, I identify she, her, and I'm heterosexual. Do I have gay friends? Yes. Do I have, please. And so what she and I did was linked arms and just like mess with them a little bit and just kept walking. Now today, at least in New York, this is nothing.
Right.
That was then.
The best man at my wedding was
It's-
gay.
Okay,
He's a nurse I worked with.
cool. I mean, now people can get like, oh, she's going out with AI.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I don't know what the next thing is. The woman is with a robot? Is that what she? I don't know what's going to happen. And I mean, I can tune in and look, but down the line, can that happen? Yes, it can. And if you're not sure, look at everyone's relationship and see how many wonderful ones there are. See what kind of complaints some people like and ask some people if you could design your own male, your own female, your own whatever. And they would be just like a human, feel like a human, speak like a human, touch. Would you want one? See how many people answer yes or no. When I did a course on sex, sexuality, sensuality, spirituality, stupendous sex, your intimacy, healing, exuberance course. So one of the things I ended up doing research on was sex dolls. And I didn't know about these things. They're like us, they're people.
Right.
And they have all moving parts. And in this day and age, depending on how much money one is willing to spend, $5,000 and up, it can do practically anything. You can design the sexuality, the sensuality, what it looks like, its coloration, its accent. This is available now.
Yeah.
And it has been.
I used to work at a tattoo supply shop / smoke shop / adult entertainment type stuff. And so we would have not full ones, but half mannequins and stuff like that. But I also took a sex course in community college in Florida in the 90s.
Yeah. So I know this stuff exists because I did research. So what I would like to see one, yes, I at the time was, I think, in New York or Florida. They were in California or somewhere, and nobody was funding it for me. So I didn't get to see one and fiddle around. That would have been interesting and see what it could do. So I began meeting people of different colorations and all that, and that became my lifestyle. That is my lifestyle. I live a very multiracial, multi this and that kind of
People are
lifestyle.
people.
Well, that's it. I look for people with an open heart or they want to grow. I look for an open mentality. I
Right.
look for somebody that's got some kind of warmth and has some kind of positivity about them. If somebody is a walking complaint and that's all they do, they're not going to be one of my close friends. I
No.
have to tell you, you can be a client because I can help you with that. That yes. You can take my courses. You can buy. My artist in the other room. I now paint rocks, and you can go to you can go to my website and see them. We're updating it, and as I said, Audrye now, AudryeNow.com, and go to art, and then go to frequency stones,
Okay.
and you'll see a slew of them. And the itty bitty ones won't cost that much to mail from Costa Rica. And they are very reasonable. The bigger ones, they cost more money. And will they cost to ship? They're rocks.
Yeah.
So it'll cost whatever it costs.
I got a question. How did you deal with, you said there was some invalidation as a kid, and
Yes.
between the time you were 10 and, let's say, reaching this point now where you're setting off on your own path in New York, how did you you are what you are, you knew it. How
I
did
didn't
you
know what I was.
well,
I was
okay,
figuring out what I was. I
so
knew what I wasn't.
how did you deal with that invalidation in keeping or exploring that confidence of figuring out who and what
Okay,
you were, and
that took a
not
while.
let it trip you up as much? I'm sure there
Well,
was some stumbling, but
that's the trick. Remember I said that I thought that because I knew what I was saying was so, and then I saw
right,
quote unquote the proof of it a few days later. And that didn't mean I'd go to your mother and go, yeah, bad move. I still was affected. This is the part that came as a shock, and I didn't know it till years later by being invalidated. So if you've been told, whoever you is, you, okay, yeah, no, you can't, you're not supposed to, all of this, and it isn't a decent reason, like, no, don't go in the middle of the street when a car is coming. It could hit you. That will damage you. You are still made of flesh and bone. Okay, that you pay attention to. Until we're at such a high frequency, we can transmute this and just lift. I don't yet know someone who could do this. That doesn't mean they don't exist. I don't personally know them. So what happened for me is I was very insecure. I had a hard time trusting some of what I saw.
did it create doubt within yourself?
Yep.
Okay.
And I had a hard time believing in it. And because I also happen to be intelligent, so I'm this mixture of intuition and intelligence. And even took a test at some point later, and I got whatever you get, and it's like, oh, intelligent, and all this kind of thing. I went through enormous self-doubt, enormous. I also, I overate, and we did not have language like we have now. It did not exist. Did not exist. I was eating out of emotional reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I also kind of knew that because I wasn't always hungry, but I did not know. And a friend told me later, another psychic who tuned in, she said, you were addicted to sugar. There was no language when I was 15 about sugar and addiction, did not exist.
Right.
And I loved sweets. And although my mother was a very holistic cook, we used white sugar. And those of you who might use quote unquote brown sugar, that's still white sugar with maybe some molasses thrown in. It's not any healthier. What do I sweeten with now? Because I use dates.
Okay.
And if I need to, I use, it's hard to get in Costa Rica. I bring it from the States. I use raw, you can't get raw, I get organic dates. And I like it with the pit in because they dry out when the pit is removed. So get it with the pit in if you want them to be at all moist. And I also use agave.
Yeah.
And I like the raw, organic agave. In Costa Rica, I can get organic. I haven't found raw organic. So when I go back to the States, I shop.
Yeah.
Bring it back. And as long as it's packaged, you can bring it back. I can't bring back food, fruit, none of that, okay? But this. So what happened was I began doubting myself, and it was only later when everyone would say, and a lot of people, you're so intuitive, you're so intuitive, you're so intuitive. So I began trusting it more. And I became professional psychic because I studied some astrology. I mean, I'm into this, okay? You'll
Mm-hmm.
know what you're meant to be when you find yourself constantly going towards the same thing. All of metaphysics fascinated me. That wasn't even a used word when I was a kid or a teenager. It was not, so I had no one to study from, not in my background. And I loved art. I would draw things. I didn't know I was going to be an artist, but I actually had a gift. That was like, whoa.
Right.
And this kind of stuff. So I was actually, it was the same Dolores, interesting who I walked down with. So I was at Dolores's house, And yeah, because how old was I then? I would have been in my early 30s. So I officially became professional when she asked me to do a reading because I'd studied.
Well, so
I-
right before the psychic part, you were in New York with Dolores marching down the street. What were you doing then for work, or what did you do before you started before you
Okay.
figured this out?
Okay, so I explored. I had to figure out who I was. I've always liked writing. I've always liked reading. I wanted to be a writer from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to write science fiction because I love really good science fiction. That's not what came out of me. What came out of me is the Mother's Manual, a spiritual and practical guide to child rearing and motherhood. That's what came out of me. What came out of me is Vim, Vigor, Vitality, Vegan. That I wrote, and it's my lifestyle. Then what came out of me, this is what is What If You Are and Life is Miraculous, my ABC affirmation art coloring book. And then came out of me Raising Race Consciousness, Healing Racism, Sexism, and Other Isms. So in my 20s, I was writing other stuff, by the way, because writers write in one way, shape, form, or another. I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Education and Teaching, well, in English for teaching. The first school I taught at, we were supposed to teach Silas Marner. I was not able to get through that book myself. That's the truth. So, I mean, maybe it's a great book. I don't know. So I thought, what's a good book? And I saw in the school library that they had Brave New World. Now, that's a good book. I read that book. And I could get the kids really into it. There was so much interesting stuff. So I bought copies of Brave New World in paperback, and I got a discount price because it was for my kids, my students. And we started studying Brave New World. The kids were engrossed. They were actually in English class reading, and we were having conversations, and it was like alive. And then one of the teachers got mad at me. She said, "Are you teaching this?" Which I had not asked for permission.
Right.
And the book had been in the school library. It had been in the, whatever you call that, showcase, glass case, and the hallway outside the main principal's office. It had been in another display thing. So I thought, it's here. Look, it's here.
Right.
So I just started to teach it. Anyway, so one teacher came up to me after a couple of weeks and said, "Are you teaching this?" Or something, because apparently one parent had seen the book in her son's back pocket and got really upset. I think because the word sex was mentioned in the book. And if anyone has ever read Brave New World, there is no sex as we know sex, no bodies. They did it with, what was it? I don't remember if they touched something or something in the brain, but it wasn't like physical sex the way most people these days have. That's not what it was. But the word was mentioned, and other ways of growing and how to make different classes of people, the alphas, the betas, the deltas,
Right.
and I think the epsilons, and how they were in bottles. And if you haven't read the book, boy, fascinating, read it. Aldous Huxley. It's a classic. It's a classic. So because I had asked my kids to buy books, which is against school rules, I got fired.
Oh.
I actually got fired because of the book I taught. They pulled me out of class.
So
I
why
never
was
went
it
back.
why was it in the glass case at the principal's office to tell you not to teach it, or a book that
It-
was banned, or what?
That's a really good question. I was going to go to the main meeting after that, and everyone said, "Don't go, they'll macerate you." I am sorry I did not go. I was only 23, not like 23 is an only. I wasn't 82. I didn't
Right.
have what I've got now. If it were me now, there's no, no, that would not happen in that kind of way, but it would be a different level thing.
Right.
So I felt like a failure. I felt like and no courage.
And that
I was,
hurts that trust that you're trying to build with yourself.
yes, that was gone. One of the parents came up to me later and said that his daughter said, "I'm the only teacher she has that makes her think." I started to cry. And she had collected as many books as possible, because I had to return the books. And they wanted, no, let's see, they wanted to learn, they wanted to read the book.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I had whatever it was. Somehow there was an exchange where I gave back whatever I could give
Mm-hmm.
to the kids, because I could give it to an adult, let them do whatever they want. And because I didn't want to be involved. And he said, no. And so they handled whatever they could handle. But my name was Mud at the time. And I did not realize, I was 23 people, how many people just told the line,
Mm-hmm.
because this is the line and I'm not made that way.
Me either.
I'm made to really, as much as possible, be truthful and authentic and evolve. Have I always had the requisite courage? No, or I
Me
would have
either.
gone and marched right into that and said, so, or nicer. What is this thing about that I had kids buy the books? Why is it in the library? Why is it in this display case right outside the principal's office? Why is it over there? I would have said that. And I am smart. And most of us here are, and that kind of thing. But I did not then have the courage, mainly because not all, but most of the other teachers said, you can't do that, you can't do that. They'll tear you apart. They'll tell you, what were they going to do?
But it's also like,
They-
I think it was just such a different time too, because you're talking about not
It
during that
was.
same time, your women are fighting for equality and marching. And so it's not only that, it's
Didn't
this toe the
exist.
line mentality, but it's the whole way culture looked at women and women in their place, and it's okay to do this, but it's not okay to do this. And yeah, it's baffling. But I think it's important to note, because to show how far one we've come, but also that we still got further to go.
Yeah. So folks, when you're doing something new and unique and you really feel it's good, if something happens, get support. Don't just crawl off. There will be people that support you. Pardon me. I mean, I taught a classic that had tons of lessons and was extremely well written. And the kids were engaged. They were actually reading,
That's the most
okay,
important
which
part.
is already a big deal thing. And talking. I mean, because I arranged stuff, and then we had discussions. Okay, well, nothing. That's not good. And if we really want people that want to explore what reality is, what are we as a species? What is the best way to live? How do we take care of our planet? What can we do differently than we have? And in terms of health, yes, I am 82. And my sister, who is 80, is now in a long-term care facility in Florida, having had brain surgery for an aneurysm, having had open heart surgery, having had a tracheostomy, which is cutting a hole in the throat so one can breathe, who's been on a ventilator for about 2 months now, which is way too long, not a good thing, and needs help breathing. And just yesterday, I found out, yesterday, had a quart of liquid drained from her lungs. I am horrified. I want to go back. I'm going to ask up. This is a plea here. This is a request. I love my sister. Were we always together and all that? No, we were not. I'm the older sister and did not always want the younger sister tagging around with me. So was I always wonderful? No, I was not. Okay. She and I have worked it out over the years that we love each other. We're different. Now and then we hiss at each other, but we love each other. There's no question about that. I require more money to be able to visit her. I am in Costa Rica. It's not just air, it's like Ubers and things, okay? That from there to here and there and stuff. So I have a GoFundMe. Richard is going to put it at the bottom, but I'm going to tell you the weird little letters. And my request is, if you donate $5 or more, $5 is good, I will thank you by pulling for you individually one of the medicine cards from this amazing deck, the medicine card deck, the power of animals and how it can affect you. And I will type it up to you and send it to you. So, and they're amazing, okay? So the GoFundMe link is https:// GoFund, GoFund.me/3 the letters 49383. And what will pop up is a younger version of me. I don't look like, this is how I look. Okay, you'll see a younger version of me with my hair all done. It's still me, only now this is the current version. And yes, if you feel so moved, I really do want to see my sister. No, I'm not going to stay there. I am coming back to Costa Rica after I take care of a few things that I have to do in the States. And you'd be doing a huge service to me and to my sister. Thank you very much. I'm a healer. Do I think I'll go and do stuff and she'll right away pop out of bed? I wish. Will I do my best? I send healings every single day. I still do that. I talk to her on the spiritual quote unquote airwaves. I am doing that daily. But it's important for me to be there. Her kids have been handling it. They are exhausted. I am not taking over.
Right.
I just want several days, a portion, whatever it is that I will do, because I don't feel it's my joy of being, my job to do that. Just so you know, for a few years before this, I've been talking to her about her health. She did not want to hear me. I'm sorry about that. I love her anyway, and I want to be able to be there. So it's https:// GoFund dot, what is it?
Me.
Now I forgot, GoFund.me/ hold on, I need water, dash 3AD 49383.
I think it's pretty amazing that not only that, you have 80 years with a sister, a sibling. I'm an only child, so at
Yeah,
48, I know nothing about how it is to have a sibling. So yeah, to share
it's
80
amazing.
years,
Yeah,
it's pretty wild.
we helped each other when my mom died. It's just so interesting the way things play out.
Yeah.
It really is.
So whenever you got fired, what'd you do after getting fired?
Okay, so I got fired,
Hmm.
and I didn't know how to tell my folks because that was not going to go over well. And they saw my car because I didn't know where to go. I mean, where do you go? And I would take a drive and come back. So for a couple of days, they saw the car in front of the house. I explained what happened. Um, I was wrong. Okay, I
Yeah.
should have just done what you were supposed to do. Okay, just, yeah, okay. And I think it was soon after that I moved into the city, and they did not want me to move into the city. That was no. We won't go into what they said I would do, and which of course I did, and anyone would. I was in my 20s, hello. And okay, my mother said, you just want to move there to have sex. And I looked at her. I said, that might be one reason. I said, it's not the only reason. And all of that. And I was in my 20s, just so you all get this. And so I moved into the city. Did not get a great place. I read about people in their 20s already want to buy a house. That wasn't even in my head, okay, to buy a house. I just, bleh. So I ended up sharing an apartment, and then I moved from the east side to the west side, completely different energy, different coloration. East side was brighter, west side was darker, west side was cheaper. So I moved to the west side and began a different way of living my life. I experimented with, okay, I
Hmm.
tended bar. Oh God, this was hysterical. Okay, so I at some point became what would you say? I began writing computer manuals. I'm not a techie woman.
But you're a
Okay, I am a
writer.
writer. Okay, so somehow I did that. I and I didn't always, and I'd sit there and daydream. And at a certain point, I did that. I tended bar. I sold space in one of those little, what are they, penny somethings, these little magazine
Oh yeah, yeah,
things,
like the penny ads.
penny saver, whatever they call
Mm-hmm.
them. So I did something like that. I did something that I don't remember what with real estate, not a realtor. I met some people that had this huge loft. Oh, this place was so great. And one of the guys can play music and all of that. So I became a non-licensed massage therapist because I know how to do stuff because I'm what I am.
Right.
So I did that for a while. What else did I do? Oh, right. Everyone said, you're smart. You're going to like this. I thought, really? Let me see. So I became a computer programmer. For those of you who know anything about this, I programmed in assembler language, which is like the next thing up from being a machine. It's practically machine language. I
Mhm.
never got to COBOL, never mind all this stuff now. That is not me. Don't ask. I'm the wrong one. Okay, I have a personal assistant to help me with that. Nope. Because other people get it and understand I have a flow in other areas. And I keep that open because who knows? So I became a computer programmer. I did that for a few years because I wanted to stick to something to prove
Right.
to myself I could stick to something because I said, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like that. Ugh, who likes this? Because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was. I was figuring it out and finding it out. And the best way I knew how was checking stuff. How else?
Right.
I figured it was how you're going to ever learn anything. So after I did that for 2 years and hated it, no, I loved figuring out the problem. I loved that. I loved writing it out. I even liked checking it. I did not like testing and retesting and retesting. I had no patience for that. Because when you
Mhm.
write a program, it has to be tested a bazillion ways for all the kinds of things that could happen in life. So you have to be extremely thorough. I was interested in figuring out the problem.
Right.
And then, okay, here's what you can do.
How was the
And
environment there? Like, did environment also play a part in,
oh
because
God, it's an office.
I'm not a big corporate person. I
Okay.
thrive more and I've worked in restaurants, MMA training centers, emergency rooms, level one trauma centers. I
Wow, that's hard.
I thrive a little more in organized chaos, I guess you could say. But I'm not good at cubicle, desk,
Nor
answering
me.
phones, meetings all the time, and you got to follow the rules. You can only say these things and that things and blah 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 blah.
So I'm not good at that either. So that only worked. You couldn't be very casual. I didn't wear suits. I didn't do that.
You have to
But I
hold your
didn't come
tongue.
to, no, well, I didn't come in shorts. Okay. I did at one point for something else, which I mean, how did I, anyway, at a certain point, I hated it because I would just stare at the wall. Not the computer programming, it just wasn't my thing.
Right.
So at the time, right, I had a few jobs. I was working for God, I had to go to White Plains, and I can't think, it was one of the phone companies. And for the really interesting hard work, those of us that worked, they were all women. And for the interesting hard work and more money, they hired men
Hmm.
from another thing. None of us liked that. Did anyone listen to us? Because we said something about it, not at the time. Okay. This is so you have some background about how some of this stuff was. And I segued at some point from that to being an editor. I worked at Fairchild. I don't remember the order of everything, but I worked for a company called McNair Dorland. I was a news editor. I was a managing editor of a magazine. I made them make one cover that was prettier than all the others because ugly. Okay. And it's like, I worked at Fairchild Publications as a copy editor because it was words. I
Right.
was at least, and from where I then lived in the city, which I'd moved, it was walking distance. So I had a job in the city that I could walk to from where I lived that didn't start at 9 o'clock. I think it started at 10 o'clock, ended at
Mm.
6 or 8, depending on when the newspaper went to bed. And so that was okay for a while. Then I thought I would change and make a little more money, but I didn't change properly in terms of one to another. And I didn't realize I had disappointed a bunch of people. I just did not realize. And at a certain point, how did I segue from that? I worked at that one where I was news editor. There I was copy editor. Oh, yes, 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 yes. So remember, I could walk to work. They
Mhm.
moved their offices.
Oh,
They moved from the village, because I lived in Chelsea. If you know the city at all, you'll know you can walk. They moved to Midtown. That I left. I didn't want
yeah.
to work in Midtown. I didn't want more
I
corporate.
had a job
And
once
that,
where I cooked literally across the street from the apartment complex that I lived in.
nice.
The shopping center with the restaurant and stuff was there, and um yeah, it's there's a certain period of time for which like the stars align, the hours are good, the convenience is just right. I didn't have to drive to work, all kinds of stuff. And it just works out. And then, that restaurant ended up, they would have trouble making payroll and I saw the signs and left. But it sucks when you kind of, it's good, for a couple of years and then you have to kind of leave it behind because something like that happens.
Well, I think I don't remember all the things, and it's not
Hmm.
like I was unconscious. I was conscious. In the meanwhile, I was studying the psychic healing arts.
Hmm.
Okay, I studied with Patricia Hayes, then the Patricia Hayes Institute of Higher, it was called Higher Sense Learning. Now it's a university and in Georgia. So, I mean, I was studying, I studied astrology. Um, I studied other healing modalities, at different points. And at one point, I forgot how I found this out, but there was, what's the name of that studio? I worked there for years. But there was a TV studio that, pardon me, hired psychics. And
Hmm.
since I'd studied this and was officially a psychic, and the way I became officially was my friend Dolores. I was at her place once, and she asked me to tune in on whatever it was. I tuned in. I said, blah, 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 blah. Whatever I said, the woman literally went to her purse, opened her purse, took out a 20, opened my hand, put the 20 down, closed my hand. She said, "You are now professional. You will now charge money." She said, "That's one of the best readings I ever had. You're on a par with anyone. You will charge money." What I did is I opened my hand. I started to give the bow back. She wouldn't take it. The woman's a Leo. You listen. I wouldn't take it. And that's it. So I became professional from that time on, officially.
Wow.
So yeah, because I was just, I've been doing readings since I'm little. I mean,
Yeah.
those
So
things I just do, but now
so
I'm professional and no, you don't get it free. You have to pay,
did you
but
did
I'm fair.
you did you so you're doing all these jobs, kind of
Yeah.
tuning into yourself, kind of validating yourself of what your gifts are and what you are and figuring that out. And then it was that one thing that was kind of like, hey, I might
Mhm.
have this now. And then from then on, now, have you done just that, or have you always done some sort of like other job and this in conjunction, or what started happening once you started becoming a paid professional as a psychic?
Okay. So what I did, um, and again, I was in New York. So I found this guy, what's his name? I see his face. Okay. And he had, it was not the regular TV stations, UHF or whatever the heck it was.
Mm-hmm.
And he paid you to do readings. So I went to him, he tested me. You get tested by doing a reading. That's how you get tested.
Right.
So I did a reading for whomever. And at the time, he paid $50 an hour. So I was like a happy camper. And I wanted to work enough hours, so I got what I needed. I wasn't like, let me work a million hours. That's not me. I didn't want to work a million hours. I wanted to work enough hours, so whatever I needed to have, I would have. So I began doing that. And that would be, people would call the station and would pay a fortune. We did not get that. We got paid a certain amount.
Right.
And the $50 an hour went down and down and down and down, I think, till it was $20 or something an hour. or 25, I forgot what it was. But they paid a lot of money to get the readings. The readers did not get that. The readers got whatever they were paid. And I began doing readings a lot. And I discovered that some of what people asked for, first of all, this is what I do. Some of them said, so-and-so, I love so-and-so. I want him to love me. Put a hex on, what's her name? Who said it? I said, I don't do that. And they said, yes, put a hex. I don't do that, people. So I said that that's not what I did. There were other readers that did that kind of thing. I don't. I looked and tuned in and said, well, this is what he's looking for. This is what you've got. If you really want to be with him, this is what has to be done. And do you really want to be with him? And we would look at that. Now, not everybody then or now chooses to really look at what they really desire, why they desire it. Is it the best thing for them? Have they been taught to desire that? Why are they going after that? And I would have my clients, and they were clients, looking at that. So they would actually come to their own decisions as much as they could, because these were not private clients. This was whatever they paid for to get the reading with me on the phone. And if they wanted more with me, they had to pay more and request me. And some did. Some they just no, put a hex on it. So they were not my clients because I'm not doing that. And I didn't. Yeah. Okay, so I learned a lot. I learned that some people don't want to do the personal work. They don't. They want somebody to call, put a hex on them, and that's it. I don't have to do anything. They would trap him or whatever by I'll do blah, 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 and it isn't be nicer and that's no other stuff. And that's not what I do. I still don't, by the way. And by the way, whoever you might be, really learn what you are, who you are, how you're growing, who you're with. And it won't always make logical sense. It doesn't work like that. Things can be karmic. They could be something from a quote unquote past life, or something is incomplete. There can be genetic karmic patterning that needs to be completed. So even if you don't understand why you might be going with whatever that person's name is, look what you're learning. Are you being treated well? If you're not, really get out of there and see why you're not allowing yourself to be treated well, because there's some aspect of non-love of the self. And that's actually my first online course. When I decided at a certain point, okay, I've been doing all these workshops and I did courses and stuff in person. I'm not yet humongous, but definitely stuff. I thought, okay, so I want to reach a lot of people. How do I do it? So online courses. So my first course, which if you don't love yourself, folks, that's where you start. And it is a journey. And I've been in live things and all this, because yes, I've done this. And I go, who loves himself? Up go the hands. Who loves your body? Okay, who loves you? So you have to look at that. That means loving your body, even if it isn't whatever your version of perfect may be. And your body will change as you go through the years. I can tell you, I have a different body than I did when I was 18. Hold on, it's water. I drink a lot. Stay hydrated. Okay, usually Kangen water. Anyway, so you need to love yourself. And then, so I wrote that course. It's the morph course, morph into the magic of self-love, soul, essence, self, and ego, personality, self. You can take a look at it. It's Audrye now, I told you, AudryeNow.com/morph, MORPH. I probably give something away on the landing page. I don't remember what. Maybe you're breathing attunement or something. So go find it. And then when that was done, I thought, what's needed now? So I looked around, and that's when the Me Too movement kind of thing was happening. And I said, sex. I have once been raped, so that's not something I recommend for anyone. And have I done work to heal myself? A lot. Okay. And with other healers, and I am fine. Can I make jokes about? No, that's not a joking matter to me. That's serious stuff. It's violence. It's completely inappropriate. And so the second course is sexuality, sensuality, spirituality, stupendous sex, your intimacy, healing, exuberance course. It is a healing course. And people ask, do I teach any how-tos? A little bit, a little bit. It's mainly a healing course. And it is audreynow.com/sex, SEX. And you'll see a landing page and I'm talking and whatever. And then when I would that, and then I did classes. Okay, this was before COVID. So I did classes and we did stuff and people went through experiences, blah, 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 blah. And then I said, okay, now what? And so I said, finally. So the last course is, how do I phrase it? ISM, ISM, in caps, freedom. Be free of the causes and effects of racism, sexism, and other isms, about which I'm passionate about all this, but I'm beyond passionate about this. And if someone takes that course, you'll get my book called Raising Race Consciousness, Healing Racism, Sexism, and Other Isms. I have 4 books. You can go on the website, go to books, and you can get a free sampler of every book. And by the way, whatever the prices are there, they're my courses. I don't know the tech, so don't ask me, but I have a personal assistant. I am willing to change prices. I want people to have this course, all of them. I'm not going to do them free because I thought about that and the guidance was, no, not free, but I am willing to do anything that makes sense so whomever you are can have the course. You do need to have a computer.
Right.
It is delivered via a computer to your email. The technique on all that, I'll have you speak to my personal assistant because I'm not the one that would know that. And so as I've gone through life, and then I began being an artist. I've been exhibited in galleries. I'd like to say all my art has been purchased and I'm willing to sell all of it, okay? Because I always make more, okay? Always, okay? And I don't know how many people know this. There was one time I didn't know this. But beauty on its own changes our brainwaves, changes how we think, changes the way the blood flows in us. Beauty uplifts, UPLIFTS, uplifts our frequency. So wherever you may live, wherever that may be, please be sure to have some area that to your eyes is beautiful, clean and neat. If you live in a mess, and I have done that because I felt depressed and didn't want to clean and didn't want, do anything at a certain point in my life, and not now. It has to be pretty and da-da-da-da. And when you do fix it up and get help if you can't do it, when you're down in the dumps, get some help. In fact, I'm going to do a breathing attunement. I'll keep it short. That'll help raise your frequency. I do it every day. And the minute you start cleaning out what you don't need anymore, you change. And if we've kept something, it has either an emotional, a mental, a psychological, an energetic tie to who we are. So when you're releasing stuff, you can feel exhausted. So pay attention to what that tie is. If it's something negative, it reminds me how much I can't stand that thing. You don't need it. Give it away. Bless it. Recycle it. Do something with it so it's not in your home anymore. Do not hate it. Give thanks for it being there to teach you about yourself and whatever the wisdom teaching is about why it was there. And as you're releasing it, also you're making space for the new to come in. So ask the universe, whatever you call the universe, the all in all, your higher self, whatever you want to call it, for what you choose to have there and feel it. Allow it to be there. You don't just say these things like a parrot. No, you have to be present to it and feel it. Almost every kind of healing is going to involve the emotions to some level. So if that scares you, look at what are you afraid of? Do you think you're going to discover something horrible about yourself? I used to think that I would discover something so horrendous. You'll never go, that's not, because at base, all of us, no matter how someone might be operating on the third dimensional earth plane, and I'm aware of what I am saying right now, okay, very much so. Despite that, for the most part, we all come from what?
Just real quick, after you're done listening to this amazing episode on this pretty freaking sweet podcast, give it a 5-star rating, and then head on over to the Podcast Connection Network and check out all the other amazing podcasts that we got over there. This is a plug. I got one too. It's called The Nonchalant Perfectionist. Check us all out. The link, you know where the link's going to be in the episode's description.
Does that mean everyone cultivates it? No, everyone does not cultivate it. There are people who have let, I'm going to call it negative ego, running rampant, rule them. Instead of self, capital S, soul, essence, self, little s, ego, personality, self, instead of going to the higher, they've gone to the lower and lowered it. Ego and personality aren't bad, but if all it is me, and
Yeah.
nothing, step, nope. That's no. In fact, people that's what they do are called sociopaths. So a sociopathic acting person, that is not somebody one wants in any position where they have any amount of power or ability, because they will not be your friend. Doesn't matter who they are. And can they turn on? And we have a time on this earth now where things are changing. Did I mention Pluto going into Aquarius? Did I mention Neptune going from Pisces to Aries next April? And then Uranus, the April after that, going from, where are we changing from? From Taurus to Gemini. So in the next few years, there's going to be a lot of changes. Some we're going to love and some like this.
What years, like when you started the psychic thing, what was people's view? What was the world's view on psychics at the time? Because I'm trying to get, like, because I like to watch, like, let's say, like a lot of true crime documentaries and stuff.
Okay.
But or I'll watch these series and, they'll talk about old crimes, whether it's like the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and that they would sometimes enlist psychics to help maybe locate. And so, I kind of know because I was born in 76. And so I have my own opinion, but from your point of view, what was the outside world's view of psychics and how has that
Oh,
shifted? Because they were probably thought it
depends.
was on some other level or not real, or,
There
people,
was some of that.
they didn't understand energy or that there
No,
was more out there.
no, some, no. So depending. There was some, I can't stand this phrase. Okay, now people say, I'm just gonna laugh. Woo-woo. Oh,
Yeah.
you're so woo-woo. Oh, that's so woo-woo. Okay, blah, blah, blah. So now I know if somebody says that, they really don't understand about energy. They don't, and
We
now
say it,
this
we
is,
say it jokingly, like me and the circle that I'm in, we say we're gonna go on some hippie woo-woo shit. But the thing is we believe it, but we say it more as a term of because some people
human.
don't believe it.
Yeah. So there were people who used that as a way, if they could denigrate this, then they could feel superior.
Right,
Okay. But you can't denigrate what I know is real.
right.
Okay. I mean, I had a near-death experience when I birthed my daughter. And I'll get back to your question. I talked to the shiny light beings. I was in this energy that, so amazing, so gorgeous, so beautiful, so high, so loving, beyond anything. So do I know, not just think or hope, that there are dimensions beyond this? Yes, I touched it. So I know. So in terms of when I first started doing this, how old was I? Because I was in overlap. There was an overlap when I worked at Fairchild Publications, and then I went on that TV thing. So I think I was in my 30s. No, I had Alana. Did I have Alana? I had her, I was 38. So I was either in my 30s or 40s, somewhere in that. So if I was in my 40s, it was in the 80s. So when I became full out doing this, there were people who would think you know everything. And then they would order like it was in a menu. I'll have a general and then this and this, like it was a general reading, which
Mm-hmm.
meant whatever I see is what it is. Because if I was doing that, not a private client, if I was doing it on TV, or when I had my own show, at a certain point, the guards told me I had my own show. I'm gonna have radio. Blah, blah, blah. So I started my own public access show, scared the daylights out of me, but they told me I had to do this. So I started my own public access show. I ended up winning an award
Oh, cool.
for inspiration. I went after it once. I won it once. I never went after it again. Okay, okay, and all of that. And the minute they heard that it was a psychic, the phone started ringing because this was live, folks, and this was New York.
Oh, man.
And at the time, my daughter was 7, give or take. So we're talking, oh, she may not want me to do. So this would have been around 1987. Go figure out what was going on in 1987. I don't remember. I was busy doing it.
Wow.
And there would be people, if you're a psychic, they thought you'd know everything. And these were not the ones that wanted me to do a hex or whatever. It was a different audience. It was a different TV show, a different studio. It was a different thing. And they wanted to know real things. And this was quick. Private client, I said, and you have to call me and book a session. People
Right.
still do. And yes, I'll work it out. And I take payments and all this kind of stuff. And I found how many people, if they didn't think they were being judged, flocked to psychics. Now, some thought that the psychic was going to solve their life issue. We don't do that. We'll see what we see. We'll give you guidance. We will make recommendations. I definitely do that. Most psychics do. However, the actual living of your life, the decisions you, whomever you may be, make are up to you. You have the responsibility. You are the arbiter of your life. I am not. I will tell you what I see. If I see something really strongly, I'll say this is really a good idea to do. I will definitely let you know. If something feels maybe, I'll say this is a maybe. If I think someone's doing something that could be dangerous, I am for sure going to tell them. Most people are afraid, at least the ones that I've said, don't tell me when I'm going to die. That's not what we're here for. It's rare that that's what I see. On a very extremely rare occasion, I may get so-and-so is getting ready to pass. In fact, when I was reading someone, and it was a woman I worked with, as I was the editor, okay, I was copy editor, actually, and I don't want to give, okay. So when I worked for Fairchild Publications, I forgot, but wherever I was working, I was the copy editor, and she did other stuff with the computer. And I saw that we were in the ladies' room and we were talking, and suddenly I got this presentiment that her father was close to passing. So you ask, how do you say that to somebody? This wasn't client. So I can't ignore what the guides show me because they're showing me for a reason, not for me to just throw it out. And it was for her. She was right there. So I asked her, so you know each other. I asked her, had she seen her dad lately? How was he? She said, oh, she said, I was thinking of going either this weekend, but I'm not sure. I said, I think it'd be a good idea if you go, if I may say, because they knew what I did on the side. And she went, and I don't remember my exact language, but in essence, I told her to complete her relationship. If there's anything she needed to say that she hadn't said, say it. If there's anything, and I found the way, because the guides give you the words to say it and do it. And I'm glad she did, because he did pass on a little while after. I don't remember if it was a month or whatever. So it's a really good thing that the guides had shown me what they did and blah, 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 blah. So if you get intuitive stuff, not ego stuff, it's different, okay, about something, start testing it out. Not a huge, start
Right.
small. So you could begin trusting yourself and trusting yourself and trusting yourself. because we as beings are given warnings about stuff. Stuff doesn't just happen. It just happened. I had no idea. No, we're given warnings and presentiments. We are. It is up to us, each individual, to pay attention and act on it. Not to, that is not. We are a highly intelligent species. We have more talents and abilities than most people know. When we begin really following our intuition and checking it back, and if you want to know more about this, go to Heart Math Institute, hmi.org. It's either hmi.org or .com, I forget which, but it's Heart Math Institute. The heart has a better brain than the head. The heart directs the head. Learn about this. There are breathing attunements to align them, which we need to. And that's breathing in and breathing out at the same amount of time. And I will do the lifting process. I forgot. I still have time.
Yeah. No, I got a question. When we were talking about that, I just wrote down the hmi.org or whatever.
Yeah,
But
do it.
the
Excellent. Free courses.
hold on. Let me see. My brain was it's right on the cusp of my thoughts. Oh, darn it. I can't remember. I'll remember.
I know, and
Eventually.
you can, so
Oh, wait. I got it. How, at what point did you learn? You said that you got the intuition and you knew you kind of had to say it to her because she was there. It was for
we
her.
were right there in the bathroom.
How did you come to learn that when you receive the intuitions, if they're for someone else, that kind of you must give them away, that you can't either keep them, ignore them, or toss them aside?
Because the thing was for her. The information I was given was for her. It wasn't for me. I didn't need to know that there was a chance, I'm going to say that her father was going to pass away soon. That was for her.
Right. Well, I mean,
My job, my joy of being, my job was to find how to say it to her in a positive way, with keeping her on an up level, not scaring the daylights out of her. That was not what I was meant to do.
right.
So she could have whatever kind of connection with this very important person in her life, should that thing come to pass. Because imagine if I had done nothing and then I heard from her dad died. That would be me not doing my job, in my
Right. Well,
opinion.
and how did
Because
you
I was given the
learn?
information.
How did you learn that you knew you had to speak up? Like, was there a certain point, had you received information before, not spoke up, and something happened and then you regretted it? Was there ever a
They
point?
they weren't always big things.
Mm-hmm.
It could be as simple as I'm walking along the street, and in New York we walk a lot. Okay, so I love that, and I see someone wearing a really pretty dress, and I didn't say, and I know the person. Oh, that's so pretty! You look lovely. Which can help on someone's day. It could have been something where I didn't do that, and later I regret it and thought, that's not a hard thing to do. I have to get over. I can't speak to her. I don't know her. All of this. So I learned that when I'm shown something that is for somebody else, and it's to be, first of all, to be of help to them. It's my job, my job, joy of being, to give it if there's a way that I can. And I learned early on, I could have a temper. And I come from, I don't want to blame it, but GKP, genetic common path, from one side of my family. Okay. And do I have it in me? Yeah, I do. Have I worked on it since I'm 12? Okay, a long time. And now and then, if I'm really upset, my language can go to the street. And do I know some of those words? Yes, I do. Do I want to use them? No. Will it? Okay. And I acknowledge this now. There's no hiding our shadow side. That's the mistake a lot. No, I don't want to look at it. Ugh. Okay, if we don't look at it and even make peace with it, harmonize it, do something, acknowledge it, we're at the mercy of it. So there was a time when I got really annoyed with whomever it was, and I'm a psychic, remember? I knew exactly what dart to throw, okay, which is a negative use. So I threw a couple of darts. I saw how much I hurt them. I swore I'll never do that again. I made a sacred oath that I would use my gifts for positivity, for good, to help, not to do that anymore. And do I know and see? Oh, please, let's not even go there. Okay, so I used the protective prayer that the guides gave me around 1995. It's on the landing page of my website, Audrey Now. And basically, the protective prayer, clients had asked me, how do I release negative energy? What do I do if I want to say rah, 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 about something in someone? And you don't want to hold it inside because it can create disease. Okay, and if one does, it will create issues. Okay, that's pretty much a guarantee. So the guides gave me the protective prayer, and here it is. You do it before you do any kind of transformational work. I do it when I catch myself doing internal dialogue that is just gross, and I can't stop because so it's like, okay, we need to get this, okay. And if you are doing any actual release process, definitely do it beforehand. So here it goes. You tell the universe, by whatever you call it, and you need to feel this. You have to feel it, that whatever I may say, whatever it looks like, sounds like, or feels like, whether I do it silently or through my mouth or my mind or any other way, is to be taken into the universe as light and love, and or anything higher. Anyone I may mention, including myself, in any way, shape, or form, silently or through my mind or through my mouth or any other way, is to be protected in light and love, and or anything that might be higher. Any places, spaces, vibrations made available within me as a result of this release process is to be filled with light and love, and or anything that might be higher. I do this for my highest good, the highest good of all concerned, the highest good of the universe and the multiverse. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I close with Amen, Ashe, Aho. Those words have relevance for me because Ashe is from Africa. I started a nonprofit called Ashe. It is from the Yoruba people of Nigeria. It's gifts of blessing of creation. Aho is from the first peoples of this country that some call Native Americans. But my friends from that community say we are first people. So I honor them by calling them as such. And so when you do that, and then you need to go, you don't call the person up, don't do that. But if you need to get it out of your system, and sometimes we do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a reality. So better to protect that and get it out, or yell at the wall to get it out, but do the protection first so that you have the space energetically to do that. Because I would tremendously dislike in huge amounts some of my internal dialogue to actually occur. I would not. And when I'm in it, and yes, because you're okay, but that doesn't mean that that's what I really want. In my deepest self, it is not. So you get to know who you are, the different layers and levels of what you might consider your own reality and the reality of others, and realize that if you might say something when you're feeling angry or hurt or in pain and it comes out all backward inside out, so for someone else, they're not different. It doesn't mean if they come that that's who they really are, which doesn't mean to allow yourself to be misused. That's a no. Do not allow yourself to be misused. So you do the healing work on yourself, or you allow yourself to take some of my courses, and I am extremely comprehensive in those courses. I'm one of those very content-rich people. And once you've taken a lot, okay, I'm a writer, and once you've taken the course, you keep the course. I don't take it back. And because there's so much in it, you'll always find new stuff. And I advise spending minimum of half an hour a day. And yes, I have a recording that goes with the course. And I give what do I do? I give a breathing attunement, I give an affirmation, I give the teaching, whatever it is that I'm teaching. I give usually an exercise because, hello, something to do.
Yeah. Well, you got to
And
put it
then,
into practice.
yeah, and then at least 10 minutes, 9 to 10 minutes, where right then and there you practice some of that stuff. And
Well,
if you want to do more, there's more, because I told you, I'm very comprehensive.
so
You can look back.
given all that you've done and having done so many different varied things and coming to this, how did you learn to define success? Because, there's where we grow up thinking success is becoming a teacher and towing the line or going into corporate like myself. Sometimes we think success is money, but then you find out you're not fulfilled even if you're making the money and you look for something else. So how have you come to define it?
So I look at that. So success is the multitude of things.
Mm-hmm.
One, it's learning who you are. It's opening your heart to yourself. It's clearing, I call it junk. If you want to be fancy, it's JUNQUE, or it could be JUNK. It's clearing, and it's just stuff. I maybe shouldn't even call it junk. It's just a part that didn't get loved and is acting out. It could be that simple. Okay. So it's making peace. And yes, we normally need help and support in this. Did I do all the stuff I've done by myself? No. Oh my God, no. I've had other healers and teachers. I've done exchanges with some of my own teachers. Okay. So part of success is learning who you are,
Mm-hmm.
loving yourself. What are you here on earth to do? What is your why? What is your purpose? What excites you? And then finding a way to do it in some kind of way. And if at all possible, monetize it, because we're living still in this third dimensional reality, and there needs to be some monetizing. If you think, look, I've done a bazillion things, why don't I have $1 billion? I think that's a good question. One, I made one or two inappropriate investments, and it just and how could I, a psychic, do that? Because I saw it could really be good, and I saw one part maybe it wouldn't. That's where it went. But also, not everybody I discovered really wants to grow, or they want you to wave a magic wand and then ta-da! But it involves personal involvement in your own growth. And the way I put it to people, and you can laugh, is, do you want someone to have your orgasms for you? Most people do not.
No.
They want their own orgasm. They want their own pleasure. They want their own, it's the same with this. You have to do whatever the work is. And at least my courses, some of them can feel confrontational because I'm asking, you'll be reading this, certain questions. And if a person hasn't made peace with whatever that is, it can feel terrifying. You don't have to be terrified. It's just a question. You look inside and you go, or whatever it is, and then we go beyond. We heal it. We go. I mean, I am 82 and change now. And I can tell you, we can go beyond. And if I had things that I find extremely difficult, yes, I have. Did I think I'd ever get through it? No, I did
Yeah.
not.
I'm
Okay.
pinpointing, I'm discovering stuff about 30 years ago, something that happened 30 years ago, and how it's affected me up until 48. And I'm just now like going, how did I? And all because maybe someone asked me a question, but the right question, the right way. And it's like, oh my gosh, like this deep dive and kind of, and it made me think when you said, hey, it could be confrontational because, I do coaching and stuff, and that was part of the coaching, but it's not, if you want to get to where you want to go and be truthful to your purpose, you have to be a little uncomfortable. You have to be triggered. You have to figure out why. But the thing is for me, if you're really into improvement and self-growth, you don't find it confrontational. You don't find it triggering.
No,
You find it necessary.
exactly. It's part of the process. I mean, I don't know how it feels for a plant when it's a little shoot coming up through the earth. How is it coming out of the seed? Is it easy? I'm not sure.
Depends
It
on
might
how
be
hard the
like,
ground
it
is.
might be an orgasm, or it might be, oh, this is a little hard. I have to break it a little bit. So, but it's not a hard thing. It isn't. I mean, my daughter was born through an emergency C-section. That's when I had my near-death experience. Another conversation, okay, which was real. Oh my God. Okay. But an emergency C-section, not generally big fun. Okay. Then I had my daughter. And that made everything beyond worth it. There's no, oh my God, please. So when what you're getting is way bigger than a relatively small discomfort, I'll put that in quotes, not a big deal. Can we learn to do things better and easier on this planet? Yes, a lot, a lot. Does that take all of us? It helps because we all have something to contribute.
Yep.
When I tell people, okay, I am a long time vegetarian. I've been vegetarian for over 51 years. Okay. I've been mostly raw vegan, maybe 25 years. I'm not sure. I have to look at when I graduated from from Dr. Brenda Cobb's, not School of Venice, that's where I studied the other. But her thing on the raw vegan, I can't, right now my mind's not getting the name of it, but it's Dr. Brenda Cobb, okay, in Georgia. And my health that's part of why I have excellent health. But when I first started it, people thought I was nuts, some of them. You're eating what? And when I first started to be a vegetarian 51 years ago, you're eating peas and carrots, that's it? That wasn't it. I know how to make food. Okay, I know how to make delicious food. And I know how to keep some of it simple. But do you need to be raw vegan? Do you need equipment? Yeah, you do. So it took a while to collect it all.
Right.
And it's all worth it. So when something looks like it could be a challenge, it just could be something new. So here's my request. If you would like better health for yourself and for the planet, and I am one that says yes, please, at least one day a week, every week, be vegan. No meat, no fish, no chicken, no eggs, no cheese. One day a week, every week. Why? Because you'll start cleaning the air. There'll be less whatever that makes the chickens eat, or the cows will have less methane. The air will start getting clean. If you eat like this, and I don't mean then, excuse me, people who might manufacture this, people who make ultra processed food, which I had another term, somewhat of an insult term, so I'm not going to say it, which is a great to me. Okay. The ultra processed food, all the stuff with the tons of chemicals. That's not what I'm referring to eating when I say be vegan. Eat as holistically as you can. You can cook. I'm not saying you can't cook. Okay. All that, but do it with something that you can at least say the words. Don't use stuff you can't even say what the words are, and don't eat that. I don't know what the heck it is. I admit, no. If you can't even say it, and it didn't somehow grow from a plant that you could recognize, or new plant. I'm getting all kind of new food here in Costa Rica, by the way. Like, yeah, okay, some of it delicious, some yeah, okay, and eat it. Learn how. Vegan food, properly prepared, is delicious. It's really yum. And you'll grow and evolve, and you'll feel lighter, and you'll feel stronger. And for those who may think that they need protein and animal, and blah, 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 watch, is it still on Netflix? What is it? The Game Changer. Watch a movie called The Game Changer. It's about these athletes. I'm 4'10", they're 5'10". They might be 6'4". I mean, they're big. They're okay, not like me who go, oh, you're so little. Okay, 4'10". and all of this. And they all switched on the word of their coach
Mm-hmm.
to a vegan diet, cooked food. Okay, they were vegan. And their games got better, their strength got better, their practice got better. They got stronger and they got healthier. And I believe the wife of one of them, at least when I saw the movie, you can get a cookbook. I mean, I'm a raw vegan. I don't want a cookbook. I have a book, Vim Vigor Vitality Vegan. I've got my own book, VVVV. And all of that. And I read others. And I go on Google and I get recipes. Okay. I mean, we're in the age of
It's
this.
the
And
uncooked
I make
book.
stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I make delicious, literally raw organic cacao chocolate truffles. They are so good. And they're all holistic. They are delicious. Okay. And so I don't run after the white sugar and the white flour. I used to. A friend told me, another psychic, years later, that I was addicted to white sugar and didn't know it. And that was a hard one to get off, let me tell you. That was, and I
It
think it
is.
was James Duffy, Sugar Blues, who wrote about that. And apparently it's second to heroin to get off.
Yeah,
So
it's in a lot of things that you would probably not expect. I can't even remember,
toothpaste.
it's probably been a while for you, but somebody was saying, I can't even remember if it was a quarter pounder with cheese from McDonald's has a sugar content in it, not just from the ketchup, but there's something that's in it
Wow.
underlying that in that makes it kind of sweet in a way. But yeah,
Wow.
I've heard the
Wow.
kind of heroin comparison.
Yeah, I read that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And folks, a lot of you may not know that white flour can metabolize to sugar. So you can be giving yourself diabetes
mhm.
without being consciously aware of it. I mean, I know it's more money to eat the way I eat. Nobody needs to tell me that. I've been doing this for a long time. I know that. At the same time, I have a different level of health than most people.
Yeah,
This is
well,
not bragging. This
you're
is
kind of
actuality.
you pay for it now or you pay for it later. I mean, you're spending the money now, but you're in Costa Rica in front of a call with me on Zoom and not in a hospital. And
No,
and you're doing well because I think I told you before we started recording, and most of the listeners know that my wife and I stayed with my grandparents. Then they passed away during the COVID era in their 80s. But yeah, it's just we know, and we've been able to see, we know what an 80-plus-year-old looks like in good health, but also in declining health. And so yeah,
oh God, no makeup.
it's pretty amazing. But we went through this kind of defining success and getting to full,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
so success. Love yourself, find work you love,
mhm.
whatever that is, get good at it, practice it. And why are you on the earth? Know what that is. Start accomplishing it. Part of success is having friends, good friends. Part of success is doing what you love. And yes, if necessary, monetizing it. And for many of us, we need that because we don't yet live in a world where that stuff is taken care of.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
and
so there has to be some of that.
so speaking
Okay,
on that though, but
have good health.
what's been fulfilling in this journey? Like, so in 80 something years, there's been times I'm sure you had money and had more money, and there's times you had less money.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
what's been part of the, when we define success, a lot of people define as money and things, but what's been the switch and fulfillment for you? Like, how did you know that purpose and these other things were more
Okay.
important than the money?
So I also like a certain amount of money. I mean, I'm actually asking for some because I needed to see my sister.
Right.
Things. I love pretty things. Oh my God, I'm a psychic. I'm a healer. I love pretty things. My jewelry was stolen when I came here from the United States. So all that pretty stuff, some of it is all gone. But what's most important to me, one, I'm here to create. So I'm painting these rocks. Now I want to find the best places to sell them. And yes, you can buy them from the States to here. I could ship them to you. I can run out, that's in the other room, and show you look pretty, and stuff like that. So for me, I came to know that doing the work that I love is totally important to me. I love doing readings. I love doing readings, okay? I love seeing people grow. So Cancerian, okay? I love that I have a daughter. I can't even tell you how much having a daughter and grandchildren means to me. I'm so typical Cancerian with that. It's like right out of the book. I like being in a multicultural, warm, pretty environment. I am, okay? I actually have that here. To me, friends are vital. Friends who really understand me, not surface friends. I
Right.
know people that you see
People
here
you
and
can
there and
have
all that.
meaningful connection with and deep
Yes.
conversation.
Yes, I have that. People I could share the most of who I am. I have some of that, and they with me. I found out not everybody has that. That it takes courage to be able to be vulnerable. Well, it actually takes accepting yourself and making peace with yourself, even in the midst of, okay, to be vulnerable. There are members of my family that are not overly thrilled that I'm not there yet. Okay, I'm not, okay, and they're all good people and they're doing extremely challenging stuff. So kudos to them. And so for me, success, all right, if you know astrology, people, I am born under the sun sign of Cancer. In Western astrology, my ascendant is Aries. So, I don't like people trying to tell me what to do. That's just no good. You can suggest, you can make ideas, but to try to boss me around is never going to work. I don't accept it. Never did. Anyone with strong Aries anywhere, that's not a good idea. Okay. So I do the work I love. I'd like more of it. I'd like a lot more. I'm going after that. This is part of it. I love sharing wisdom. If anything that's coming out of me, or just the mere fact that I'm 82 and I'm conscious and I could move and I could dance and I can, by the way, I can, okay, with energy, con gusto. That's amazing. So success to me is that. More money, yes. I would like more money because I don't like this, juggling like this. I don't.
Right.
And am I good at it? Yeah, but I'd rather be juggling on a higher level because then I have more also, not only for myself, but to give
Right.
and to share and to do it on higher levels. People have told me for years, do your own podcast. And I'd like to. I need someone to help produce or do all that stuff because I can't do the techie stuff and that. No. And so it's finding those people and how to augment it. And am I willing to do that? Now, yes. Have I had to take rests in my life? Yes. When I first came here from the States, I was exhausted. I was exhausted energetically. I was exhausted physically. I was exhausted emotionally. I was exhausted.
Why did you go
I
there?
needed to Costa Rica.
So you were exhausted. So what made you decide to go there and move there?
I was exhausted from the States, not from Costa Rica, because I needed to. So I had been renting a condo in Florida. And the person that I rented it from had said I'd never have to leave, that I could have it forever and a day, and blah, 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 blah. And then that person's spouse died, and they decided they were going to sell the condo. And I was informed about this about 2 months before my 80th birthday. And before my decade birthdays, I prepare myself a couple months in advance to welcome my new decade with open arms instead of, oh my God, not like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wow, really? Okay. So I was in that process. I did not want to move then. I thought, where am I going to go? And then I had a good talk with myself. And it was obvious I never intended to stay at that place for the rest of my life. I never did. So I said, well, surprise, surprise. The universe has arranged that I am going to move, maybe before I thought, but they know, and I
Right.
don't, because I could just sit around. So I thought, so where do I want to go? Well, I like warm weather. I'm a July baby. I like warm weather. I like multicultural. I've been doing that since my 20s. Um, I like beauty. I love beauty. I've seen non-beauty. I've been to, and I mean, it's there, but is that what I want to surround myself with? No, it's not. The guides told me that the 80s were my decade of mastery. I was to embrace that. I was to welcome it. I was to be that, which means I can't go, me, no, to embrace it and allow it. So I thought, so what? Well, and I wanted someplace less expensive than the States.
Right.
Because with her saying, I'm going to sell this place, you'll have time to move, I didn't have that kind of money. I did not. My social is way lower than the average. I do not. No, because for years I did psychic healing work, and there was no pulling it out of anything.
Right.
And I needed every penny I made, I felt, to raise my daughter. Okay, I was a single mother. My ex passed away when my daughter was 7, so I was the it. And I didn't run after 20 jobs because I wanted to be on hand to be a mom. And I didn't like that kind of work. I don't fit into that corporate stuff. That's just not me. And I attempted it, but okay. And then I get to, no, not a good mix. And I was trying all these other things out and learning and growing and this and that. I mean, how many books do I have? I have 4 books and 3 courses. I want them selling beyond word. I do. I want everyone to have them. I didn't write them for me. I wrote them for you. And yeah, if you want them, I'll make it possible for you to have them. And it's on the website. So I moved because I couldn't stay. And when I looked at my options, I had heard about the blue zones. And that was where, if people don't know, where people have been living more than the average to 100 and beyond. I thought, well, that's for me because I was turning 80.
Right.
So I thought, where are they? So I looked at where some of them were, and I didn't feel a pull. Did I want to stay in the States? Okay.
And
So
we don't have the
Costa
life
Rica,
expectancy.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, I was like, we don't have the life expectancy. That's the problem with America, is that we have some of the best technology, but we don't live the longest. And there was an article on CNN I read earlier this week or last week, which talked about exactly what you said, that some people were moving to different places. One guy chose Italy because the people lived there longer. So he moved from the States to Italy because that's where people live longer. And I was like, it's not necessarily people think like, Panama, Costa Rica, different places like that. They think, well,
Be
cheaper
anywhere.
living, expatriate type of thing. But it was the first time I'd ever kind of looked at that thing of going, the people live longer. There must be something there, whether it's the culture, the pace of life, what they deem
All
as
of it.
important. Because, in the States, what's important to us? Capitalism and money and more and
It-
more and more, as opposed to slow down, be kind, be nice, um, chill out. Let's make exchanges for things. Everything's not classable or. Um, but yeah, so I find that very interesting because I just read an article on that.
So I came to Costa Rica and I thought, well, I have to check something out before I move because I
Yeah,
didn't know Costa Rica. So I booked a 3-week, 2 or 3 week, I forget, journey. And I picked places that sounded interesting. Okay. I mean, I'm an artist, so I wanted, do you have art galleries? I wanted
right.
things that would be of use to me. And a friend of mine said, oh, I know someone in Costa Rica. So right then and there, she called him on WhatsApp. I was like, oh, okay. And I spoke with him. And he lived near Puerto Viejo, which is where I live now. And he mentioned it was like where I lived there. And some people said, oh, this is dangerous. And I laughed. He said, do you think where you live now is dangerous? I said, no. And he said, it's similar and blah, 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 blah. So we made arrangements that when I came in, I would meet him. Okay. And he would like show me certain things.
Right.
So that's how we started. And then someone else I knew lived by the Nicoya Peninsula, which is an official blue zone. So she said I had to come and see her And she had found a place for me that I would have to look at. I looked at my social, this is literally how this happened, okay? I looked at my social security check, which there are migrants who get a bigger check than what I get, okay? I don't know how that happened, but it is, okay? And I've been working since I'm 14 on one thing or another. And so I knew I was going to go to the Nicoya Peninsula, the official blue zone. So when I came in, just kind of bottom lining it, you all land in San Jose, the capital, and you take a shuttle bus. And I actually, anyway, whatever, I flew the little plane. Oh my God, that was so much fun. Okay, you bounce to go to Limon, and then I was driven into so I went to Puerto Viejo, stayed at an Airbnb, really nice people. I'm friends with the owner still. And this guy who we just met, but we'd spoken on the phone through WhatsApp a couple times, he managed to have met somebody who met somebody. And before we knew what was happening, I was in a car looking at properties. And this was too small, that was too small. They showed me, because I'm an artist and I need space. And I was hoping my family would visit, okay, my own progeny and the progeny of my progeny. So I got a place that could have accommodated that at the rent that I wanted. Because if my check was this,
Mm-hmm.
and what I have to pay, because I have to pay things. Okay, I have a phone, there's stuff you have to pay. And that left this, which meant my rent had to fit into that. So I actually found the place where that worked. What I did not count on was that my SBA loan is not this, it's this. So there are expenses that I did not realize that I have that have to be taken care of. So my check is gone.
Mm.
When
Chicken
I
today, feathers tomorrow.
Yeah, well, that's it. And normally I have clients, but since this thing with my sister, not so much, because my energy isn't out. My energy is let me get there
Yeah.
and all of that. And I will. And yes, if you would you please, $5 support would be good.
Yeah.
And so I checked the place in Nicoya. It was really nice. I looked around. It was more built up than, because I had checked the other place. It was not built up, but it was nice. It was big enough. I told her I liked it. I could live here. And we made I said, but first I have to check this other place, because I told a friend I would. I will let you know. I think it was 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, hold this for me. Hold it. And so I saw the other one in the Nicoya Peninsula. And I said, I like living multiracial, multicultural. I do. And almost everyone I saw there was my complexion.
Oh.
Now, I'm fine with me, I'm fine with you, but that's not multicultural. It's not how I prefer to live. I
Right.
like multicultural. So I turned down Nicoya and moved into this other place that was in Coweta.
Mm.
And I lived there for a year, and now I'm in Puerto, which is a little more better, if one wants some clients. It's just different, but they're both very nice for laid back Costa Rica, not American lifestyle, different.
Yeah. Very
And
different.
it's much more laid back.
Yeah. Don't they have what's their saying? Pura vida?
Pura vida,
Yeah.
pure life, pura vida. Is everyone here pura vida? No, we have pollution. We have to have the water more purified. There are issues with solid waste. This is not, don't think, oh, I'm just coming to paradise and I could, no, there are issues here also. Different than the States, and some following in the tracks. But some people just want money, 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 money. And they will allow the land to be degraded. And that's
Yeah.
some of the people in government, not all of them. I am learning more and more. I'm doing my best to be in position so I know more and can write about it. But yeah, so that's part of what got me here. Do I want to live back in the States? No. If I had all that money, I would back and forth. There are things I just love about Costa Rica. It's a completely different energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of it is that there's no military here. We do have police, but there's no military. And there's just something different about that. And there's much less tech, high tech, although that's also changing. The
Right.
United States is high tech wherever you look.
Yeah.
That affects our vibration, that affects our brain, that affects our emotions, that affects our heart, that affects our frequency. And most people aren't aware of it because they're in it. And when someone comes out of it and is in a different vibe, especially if you're a sensitive, and I am, it's palpably different.
Yeah. I think some people, it's, you know, living in a 3D, looking at 2D, people, they see, so this is what they think, but you forget, or some people don't, that in science, there's frequencies that range outside of color spectrums, outside of decibels that we can hear, outside of whatever. I mean, I guarantee you there's electromagnetic waves or something coming out of this microphone, the computer, the headphones, and whatnot, but I can't see them. And so we
Yeah.
don't, we're in it, kind of like you said. But it doesn't mean that you're not being impacted by it. And, like some
Yeah.
people will say, like, hey, one summer we went to Michigan and the internet wasn't great, which was fine with me. And we stayed on a lake and it was just beautiful and relaxing. And it's like, is part of it, it's a combination. People probably, because you didn't have all that electronic stuff coming at you all the time. That's why
Yeah.
you felt relaxed. And especially a place like New York City, man, you got
And that's where
Times
I'm
Square,
from.
you got all the electronics, everything through the square, marquees and boards and signs, and it's just energy being just thrust out into the world.
Yeah. When
Yeah.
we're born, when we take our first breath, we are breathing in the very vibration of where it is we are born.
Oh,
We are taking that whole thing in, and it's different in different places. I think part of that happens so we have like a sort of foundation, or like where a grounding place might be. I mean, I was born in Brooklyn. I was born on the eve of World War II, but I was born. So
yeah.
I probably took in all that stuff. I was born July 1942. Go look at the history, because I'm,
Took in a lot of
Pearl Harbor
tension,
was what it was.
a lot of
So
worry,
we
a
all
lot of
have to,
concern.
so we all have to do something to clear that. At some point, I meditate, I do breathing attunement. Oh, do we have time for me to
Yes,
do a
I was
breathing
gonna tell
attunement?
you I gotta leave in a little bit to meet my wife, so I wanted to do the breathing attunement before we hop off.
Okay, so this is a really cool one. It's called the lifting process. I don't have earrings, I'm gonna take this off. I learned it from Patricia Hayes. That's not Louise Hay. So this doesn't matter what somebody's spiritual, religious, or anything path is.
Mhm.
Anyone can do this. It doesn't conflict with anything. I'm going to explain what we're going to do. Then I am going to do it. And then I'm going to let you float in it a little bit, and then I will bring you forth. So if you driving a car or anything else, or if you're using a knife, please pay attention to that. Do not close your eyes. Okay, if you're in any position where you could actually sit back or lie back and close your eyes, take off your shoes, be really comfortable, please do that. Okay, if you have clothing on that's tight, loosen it so you could really go with this. So what we're going to do, I'm a healer, so I'm going to send healing energy because I like doing that. And if you don't want it, just tell the universe in it that keep it like away from you. It will not go into you until you ask for it in that case. And then I'm going to be repeating a phrase, well, 3 phrases. You're getting higher and higher, lighter and lighter, freer and freer. When you do this on your own, I'm going to guide this, and you can always come back to this amazing podcast and go over it. However, at some point, do it on your own every day. It'll start centering you and lifting you. And then when you have challenge, you again do it, but do it regularly. I do this every day in one form or another. So I'll say that, then I'm going to let you float. And then that's my language.
Mhm.
And then I'll bring you back. And so when you close your eyes, because you want to when you're breathing, don't open them till I direct you to. So I'm going to lift my energy right now. And thank you for letting me do this. Thank you. Taking a nice, deep, quiet breath into your heart. Fill yourself with sparkling white light. You are protected. You are blessed. Exhale. Breathe in shining gold light. You are a star. You are again protected. You are energized. You are lifted. And release. Breathe in yet again, silver sparkling light. Fill up your whole energy body, your frequency, your bones, every aspect of you, who you are. You are productive, you are prosperous, you are blessed, you are safe. Now continue breathing at your own pace as you allow yourself to get higher and higher, lighter and lighter, freer and freer. You're getting higher, higher, lighter, and freer. It's easy. Higher, lighter, freer. You are safe. You're protected. You're filled with healthful energy. You are prosperous and abundant in all excellent ways. Higher, lighter, freer, safe, peaceful, alive. Now you may dwell in this energy. I will bring you forth. I shall be silent. You can send healing energy to any aspect of your being that you choose, to any aspect of your life, to your future, your past. And now I allow you and welcome you to dwell in your own energy. Keeping your eyes closed, you may gently and softly begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. You may gently and easily begin to move your hands on your wrists, your feet on your ankles. You may gently begin to move and pat your body. Gently have your head upright, gently and relaxedly on your neck. And when you feel ready, you may slowly and gently begin to open your eyes. When you feel ready, share how you feel. And you can float in the energy.
Feel relaxed.
Okay.
I feel almost stoned without the head high, which is good. Yeah, it's interesting because when I was telling you, um, when we get off this call, my wife and I are actually meeting for a couples massage
Oh, great.
and dinner together
Perfect.
because our 10-year-old daughter's with her grandmother out of town, so my wife and I are gonna do that together. And I was like,
Yes.
I'm already relaxed, and now I'll get the massage, but it'll be great because I think I've had some energies and stuff over the past few days that definitely got me out of alignment, and I need to be cleared, um, body wise and energy wise and spirit wise. I've been working on it and feel much better, trending in the right direction. But yeah, that
Excellent.
definitely helped.
I'm so glad to hear that. People, when you do this every day, and you don't need me for this, although I'll give you the little extras that I give. You can do this on your own. You're meant to do this on your own. Okay. So every day it's like a tune up. Okay.
Yeah,
And the more you do it, the more centered you become. And the more centered we become, the more energized we are. Okay. Our energy can go higher, not frenetic. That's different. Frenetic energy is not high energy. It's frenetic. It's nervous energy. Okay, we're not going to go there. And then if and when there's something important that one has to do, whether it's a job interview or a conversation with a beloved that's important, whatever it is, do this first to get you in that space and enjoy, see who you become. And do I know a lot of other breathing attunements? You know I do. Okay, this is one of my favorites because it is relatively simple. It's quick. You can do it for longer periods of time. Okay, you can do it for longer periods of time. Allow yourself to really float. You can make it into a home meditation thing. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for letting me do this. Thank you. Thank you so
yes, I had
much.
a lot of fun, and it was, of course, what I ask everybody, one question is, what's been what's been one unexpected benefit that you never could have accounted for or never thought of from embarking on this journey?
Knowing that we really do have higher realms, knowing that this is real. When I do energy healings and I call on the energy frequency and I
Mm-hmm.
send it or direct it, that's not me just moving my head. No, that's allowing it to come and it fills me, okay,
Right.
as I send it out. So I'm getting it, okay? And so to know, not just think, not just hope, although part of me, to know that there are realities beyond this third dimension. And we have that in us. We have possibilities that we don't even know about. And does it take something about exercising and using our mind, our brains, our bodies? Yes, it does. Is it worth it? Yeah. I like being 82 and healthy and well.
Yeah.
Would I like my body to look how it looked at 22? I would love it. However, I'm okay with who I am now. I make peace. Yes, I'm thrilled.
Yeah.
And thank you for all those who do choose to go to my what is it called? GoFundMe to help me see my sister. Really, thank you. And thank you too that allow this.
Yeah.
Folks, you're amazing. Allow yourself to know that.
Well, I had a lot of fun, and um I learned a lot. And I
Cool.
feel like I could do this forever if my wife and I weren't meeting. But yeah, maybe another time we'll have to talk about the near-death experience or something.
Okay, I would be glad to. Oh, I know. Yes, that was
So
amazing.
yeah, I just
And
listened
after,
to a podcast on that topic, so it's kind of
yeah,
interesting. But
yeah, they're real. I spoke with the shiny light beings, but that's for another time. Not now.
all right,
Another time.
well,
Thank you. My
thank
answer is
you.
yes. I'd be glad to come back. You're welcome. Look at
I
you.
don't know why my eyes are watering. But
You indeed. Good.
yeah. So
Put some cool water.
yeah. Well, all right. I hope
Thank
you have
you.
a good rest of your day, and I will definitely be in
You too.
contact, and I will definitely hit up the GoFundMe, because
Thank you,
I want you to be
everybody.
able to see your family for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. Blessings,
All right.
everyone. They're
Bye-bye.
magnificent. You too. Bye.
Well, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from. Remember, go out and be the person that you want to meet.
Asteroid of fear.